Welcome back to the Light Path podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today as I really want to dive into and talk about a stage in the process of expanding and calling forth into our life the things that we really desire or the person that we desire to be. And that is the void, the place between deciding what we want and really committing to attracting it, aligning with it, and the getting it. Because as we know, the whole concept of alignment is never instantaneous. I mean, I don't know too many people that have desired something and then poof, the next second, they are holding it in their hands or in their experience. And so no matter what that void is in terms of time or depth, it is going to exist between when you decide what you want and being able to align with it. And I can tell you that the most people do not know how to manage the void. And I have to say, it's become one of the arts that I have really tried to perfect because I have fully surrendered to the fact that the void is unavoidable. But in a lot of ways, it can feel like a void because you have moved on from the current state of desire into a new one, yet your experience isn't presenting that to you yet. So what most people do whilst they're in the wait or they're in the void really muck up their vibration and their magnetism because ultimately they sit in this energy of waiting, like waiting for the promotion to arrive, waiting for the new partner to walk through the door, waiting for the money to be somehow magically poured into their bank account, waiting for the home that is to be theirs. The wait is always going to be there, but it doesn't mean we energetically have to marinate in low vibrational energy whilst we're in the void. So I'm going to give you lots of strategies today on how to manage this time because I think this time is actually the secret sauce and the golden time when we are in the period of or a phase of active and intentional alignment with what it is that we desire or what it is that we are wanting for ourselves next. So when we look at the void, really, it is a time for us to be in active alignment. It is a time for us to really be upgrading our level of vibration and personal stream of consciousness and energy to match what it is that we want. So I'm going to give you lots of examples of the things that most people will come to me and say that they're really wanting to attract into their experience because they just feel it's right for them. So a big void that people wait for is relationships. So they may have left a relationship or they may have decided that they are now ready for a new one, but the person isn't magically appearing out of thin air. And lots of people say to me like, I've done so much work on myself, or I took a time out and I rested and I recovered and I healed from my previous relationship and I'm just so ready. I'm so ready, and they're not arriving. So I would say to that, well, I wonder how dull your magnetism is for two reasons. One, because you have decided that you are ready, that they must be ready, or that the work that you have done on yourself is put you in a state of deservingness. Like, I ticked these boxes, therefore now I deserve this. So I would say straight up, your intention for doing the work or the alignment work was completely off. The intention for that more than likely should have been around the fact that you were really excited about this phase of your life. You were actually really happy and satisfied and satiated within the void, that the work that you were doing on yourself wasn't for a particular outcome, even though deep down we know that as a result of doing this work on ourselves, there will likely be a wonderful alignment of a better relationship because you know yourself better, you're feeling more confident and you're healed and you're not walking into a partnership to dump that baggage on them. So all those things are true. But if it's your intention, then that energy of deservingness can actually push the very thing that you want away from you. So go back to the intention. How did you use this space in between? What was the purpose or the intention behind anything that you did? And then maybe does that need a little tweaking and a little realignment so you're not sitting in this seat of deservingness. Rather, you're sitting in a seat of worthiness and robust self-knowledge because of the work that you did. They're two totally different energies. And I think, well, hopefully you can hear in the description that one is a lot more appealing and sexy and fun and flowy and attractive than the other. Deservingness is like, I want the perfect thing. I deserve it. I've worked hard for it. And so someone then has to turn up and play that role. And I can tell you there's probably not one human on this earth that wants to turn up and play the role of your reward for doing the work. But the person that does the work on themselves for themselves because they want to be better, because they want to feel good, because when they walk out into the world, they want to feel the feeling of love and confidence and deservingness and worthiness, and have nobody reflect that back to them, like that isn't the person's job, then they can meet someone in their full authentic expression and magnetism and start to dance and play and actually be in relationship. That is a give, a take, a flow, a dance. The other aspect is the waiting. Oh my goodness. The idea that we're waiting for anything is such a low vibration. Basically, it sucks the magnetism out of you purely because waiting takes you out of the present. The present is the only thing that we have, and anything we shall have is actually created in the here and now. So if you decide that you are in a period of waiting for the thing to come along, the relationship, the job, the money, then you are immediately out of the presence. And as we know, we live in an energetic universe of resonance. So whatever your energy is, you're going to attract things that represent that and that resonate with that. So what are you going to attract? More waiting. You're going to attract really seeing so clearly what you desire, but in the future. And you're trying so hard to draw it to you now, and you're waiting and you think you're being really patient. But ultimately what you're doing, you're keeping it in the future because you're not in the present. The only place that you can have magnetic potency for alignment with the things that you want is to stop waiting. So this is the void. What do you do in the wait? Well, I'm sure in inverted commas, because you know I don't love this term, but the manifestation practice of acting as if. This, I swear, is an absolutely very powerful but wonderful strategy whilst you're in the void, because what you're doing is using the present moment to align you with the vibration of what it is that you desire, rather than the vibration of waiting for it to happen. So you are no longer eluding yourself with your future by keeping it in the future because you're in the essence and the energy of waiting. You're actually magnetizing it towards you because you are already holding the vibrational frequency of what it is that you desire. So how do we hold a vibrational frequency? Act, and most importantly, feel as if. And I can't stress the importance of the emotional secret sauce here. When you feel what you imagine or what you would desire to feel when you have or are experiencing the desire, you are going to dial up the potency of your magnetism because you're already holding the vibration. So you want a wonderful relationship? Great. I want you to act and feel as if you're already in it. What would that person be like? And by the way, the person is you, not the other person. But what would you act like? What version of you is in this relationship? Is this version of you fun and flirty? Or are they serious and disgruntled that it hasn't happened yet? What does this person that you shall be in this connection cook for dinner? What do they wear? Where do they go? Where do they hang out? So if you can imagine a beautiful evening at home with someone that you are in this magnetic, beautiful, loving relationship with, I want you to go home to your house and cook that meal. Stop putting off all the things that you would do and have and be, waiting for that person to come in because you're keeping them at bay. What would your home look like? How would it be filled with beautiful romantic flowers, with a glass of wine, with low-level lighting? What would it be like? So here's what you do. You go home tonight and you cook the meal that you think, oh, if I had a partner, I'd love to cook them this. Great. Cook that meal for yourself tonight. And on the way home, when you're picking up the ingredients, go get yourself that beautiful, fresh bunch of flowers that you can imagine is going to be gifted to you by the person that you love as a symbol of their love and appreciation. Decorate your beautiful home. Dress as you would love to feel as you do that. And instead of waiting for your life as a husband or a wife, whatever the relationship means to you, you're living that now. You've dialed up and aligned your vibrational frequency to the desire. You are no longer in the waiting void. Same goes if you're wanting to, say, align yourself with a wonderful work opportunity, a promotion or a client or a growth in your business, for example. Act as if you have that now. What would your workplace look like? What would your desk look like if you were in the position that you desire to be in right now? What would you be wearing to work? How would you be speaking? Even down to how would you organize your day? If right now, for example, you are in business and you are wanting to attract a number of clients, but you're getting maybe like 1/10 of that now, what you need to do is you need to start sitting in your space of work for all the hours you wish to be working with clients as if you are working with them. Now, I'm not saying sit there and just talking to the void, but what I am saying is you have to be in work mode in those hours to show, well, this is when I'm working with clients. And so I'm in that energetic space. I'm dressed as it. I remember when I first started my business, one of the little tricks I did was I decided these are the days and these are the hours that I would personally like to work. And so the days that I didn't have any bookings at the start of my business, those days I wouldn't just lull around or I wouldn't just maybe take the day off because I didn't have any clients. I got up, I did my morning routine as if I would had a full booking of clients that day or full books, and I would put on my makeup, do my hair and get dressed as if those clients were walking through the door that day and I needed to be ready. And then I would spend those hours at my computer really thinking about my business and working on my business, marketing, business organization, all of that kind of stuff. So I was already working those hours as if I would have been working with clients. And as it does happen, of course, my books got filled up eventually. Of course, I was then able to maintain that so beautifully. It wasn't a stretch for me because I was already so used to working those hours. And how those clients came in, I could never have predicted. But what I know that I did is I didn't sit in the void of waiting. Rather, I acted as if, and then hence the alignment came in so many mysterious and wonderful ways that even when I look back on now, I gasp with a lot of like, wow, and appreciation for how that happened. Now, that brings me to another technique to use whilst you're managing the void. and that is appreciation. When we talk about vibrational frequency and alignment, we want to dial it up so that we are really magnetic to what we want. One of the highest frequency emotions that we can emit is that of gratitude. So now when I'm wanting my books to be filled, for example, and they might not be that day, I get so grateful for that day. I'm so grateful for this time. Clearly it's in perfect order that clients are not sitting in front of me today because I can have the opportunity to record and edit this podcast. I'm so grateful for their headspace because clearly the clients will come, but I need this space for myself and my business right now. And I'm so grateful to my clients who did not come today because they are using their discernment so beautifully and will only come to me when it is actually aligned and in perfect order. So instead of sitting there disgruntled and frustrated with the weight, and you then slip into the weight, so out of the present moment, boom, it will straight away elude you. Remember, energy doesn't say, what do you want? Energy says, who are you being? And whoever you are being, energy will agree with. Energy will say, oh, you're in the void of waiting and frustration? Yes, yes. I will keep you there. I will give you all the things to be frustrated and impatient over. You're in the void of gratitude and acting as if and being really proactive. Yes, yes, I will give you a lot more to be grateful for and a lot more to be happy about in terms of your vibration. And remember, we are only ever going to get or have what it is we are willing to create. To create means to do. Create means to be in creation. You cannot be in creation and be in the past or be in the wait for the future because the creation happens now. So this is going to bring your vibrational frequency straight into the present moment, hence dialing up that vibrational alignment. Creating is present energy, waiting is future energy. And we only have the present. So if we wait for a future, it will never arrive because all we are doing is creating the wait. But if we are creating in the present, then we're going to eventually align with the future desire because that is our vibrational alignment. So inspired action is going to be your most beautiful and precious friend. You can't take inspired action. So for example, if you are waiting for a relationship, the inspired action might be to go for a walk on a different route. The inspired action might be to sign up for that cooking class. The inspired action might be to think to yourself, I haven't seen that friend for a while. I'm going to call her up and I'm going to ask if she wants to grab dinner on Friday night. And because you're taking inspired action, you're keeping busy, you're doing the things that you would want to do anyway, and you're not sitting around on your couch waiting for him or her, whatever you want. You're actually out taking the inspired action of connecting with others, of showering them with love and appreciation and relationship. Then your man's probably sitting at that restaurant, but probably not. Like, it doesn't happen that instantaneously, but we have to keep this momentum flowing. I have a friend who was a master at that. She never sat back and waited for the perfect partner to align with. She was forever proactive, doing the things that she loved. And one of those things that she loved was connecting with people. So she kept connecting with people. And eventually one of those connections is now her lovely fiance. We also have to appreciate that when you are in the void and the energy of waiting, you are going to create for yourself a whole ton of anxiety and sadness because all you can see and experience is the wait. And the wait is the absence of what you want. When you are conjuring up the vibrational frequency of the emotion of anxiety and sadness, you are just cultivating a beautiful energetic garden that is going to grow more of that. It's going to give you more sadness and more anxiety than if you decided, I'm actually not going to sit in the wait. I'm going to be in the present. So what's the antidote to the garden of anxiety and sadness in the void? It's the feeling of fulfillment that you are happy and complete just as you are, and that it is only a natural path for the core that this thing will arrive in your experience, whatever it is. You are so happy and content and fulfilled in your own vibrational and mental space or garden that it puts you in the vibration of the desire. And this is why I personally consider desire to be a sacred gift, because it gifts you the vibrational frequency that is needed for you to be your most empowered and expansive self. I don't think any of us are here to get more. I think that we are all here to be more. And when you're in the thought process or the perception that desire is about what you can get in life and getting bigger and better all the time, you will have constant anxiety managing the void because of this lack of instantaneous alignment. But when you understand that you are here primarily to be more, then desire is actually the most beautiful and sacred gift, because you're actually going to learn through the portal of your desire what it is your soul, your higher self, your angels, whatever we want to call it, what it is they're asking you to expand into next. Every different story of your life, every different experience will require a different version of you. And so before that thing arrives, are you truly willing to vibrationally become that which you seek? And if you are, then you tap into the endless synchronicities and perfect order and dance of the entire cosmos and everyone who's in it, because we live in a universe of resonance where like attracts like. So if you are someone that is finding yourself a little bit trapped in the void, that you want what you want so badly that it's keeping you paralyzed in the future and in the present, just cultivating a garden of frustration, anxiety, lack, pain, and sadness because it isn't in your experience now, I hope these tips give you a little insight of how to manage the void a little better, and also a little perspective on the gift of the void. Remember, the gift of the void is for you an opportunity to become more, to become what it is that you desire. And then the alignment will happen with a lot more ease and natural essence and joy rather than push and force. And I know anything I have ever received or aligned with natural ease and joy and happiness and playfulness, I've been able to hold onto in a much more proactive and realistic way than the things that I've worked really, really hard for and pushed and literally knocked on doors that wouldn't open, so I just charged through them. None of that has ever worked out well for me. Just a little side note. So be the flow, be the worthiness, be the joy which you seek. Really use your desires as information portals, if you like, little peeks behind the curtain of what it is your higher self is inviting you to step into, and then use the void to do just that. And I will be so thrilled to hear about your stories of synchronicity and magnetism and fun and flow as a result of approaching the void by staying in the present as opposed to the waiting room of life. If you have any experiences, I would, of course, as always, love to hear about them over in our Facebook community group, the Light Path Community. But as always, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support of this podcast so very much. Share it, save it, do all the things with it, send it out to anyone who you find gets really frustrated in the void, because if this helps as many people as possible, if we're managing to spread these messages far and wide to help anyone and everyone, then that is what we're here for. But for now, wishing you so much joy and love and light if you are sitting in a void and using it to create the best, most magnetic version of yourself.